Hello everybody, welcome to Dungeons and Drams. So tonight I am going to be picking up where we left off in the last live stream where we were talking about the jungle temple that we were creating. Now this jungle temple, I'm just grabbing my notes real quick, which I believe I hid behind another window because that's awesome. Oh yeah, duh. Alright, anyway, so we've got our notes here and I'll be kind of showing these off. Just so that we can talk about what we've discussed so far. Now, I know that these are a little small, so we're going to make those a little bit bigger. But while we are doing that... Oh, you know what? I just realized. I wish I would have thought of this ahead of time. And for next stream, maybe I'll fiddle with it. There's all this white space here, which I'm sure I can get rid of. So, first off, let me just talk about what we're doing tonight. So, in the past live stream, we created a jungle. Our jungle temple, not the jungle. Actually, come to think of it, the jungle does not have a name, which maybe we'll name it. But in this jungle, there is a temple to an eldritch god. And the idea being that this is just kind of meant to be an example of how to create a dungeon utilizing AI as a tool rather than necessarily a crutch, and kind of taking it from there. We're doing all of the different steps, though. We are ideating on the dungeon. We have all of the rooms kind of mapped out, although we're going to go into more detail about the ones that we haven't covered yet, which I believe there's 12 rooms. We've gone through 4 so far. We are also utilizing Incarnate, which is a map making tool, in order to make the actual dungeon. And then if we have time at the end, I'm actually going to take this into Foundry and kind of show you how to even create this whole thing in Foundry. So we have a lot to cover tonight, so I'd actually like to just kind of get right into it. All right, so let me talk a little bit about what we've gone over so far, but before I do, I just want to say hey to Dennis, who is here early, Mike, as well as Recycled Soul, and anybody else in the chat who is more just watching for yourself. I want to thank you guys for coming in. Okay, so we have, I'm going to zoom in a bit, even if this looks a little bad. All right, so we have the Temple of the Eldritch Echo. Now, the name leaves a little bit to be desired, but that's okay. We don't really care. This is just for fun. So the description of this location, basically, it's as I mentioned, it's a temple within the jungle where there was a cult. I hate to call it a cult because it's just so overdone, but whatever. So there is a cult who is trying to bring an eldritch god to this world, and that's kind of it. The players have stumbled upon this temple for whatever reason, and they are going to go through each one of the rooms. Now, we're doing a lot of home brewing as far as the monsters go, because, you know, going through D&D Beyond or like the rule books or whatever, like that's great, and utilizing their monsters is fantastic. I just feel like with all the tools that we have, I can make exactly what I want with very minimal effort, and I like that better. So, all right, let's go over just the 12 rooms and what they kind of are real quick so that you can be a little bit more caught up if you haven't seen the other episode. So the first one here is going to be the entrance hall. Then there's the worship chamber and the hall of trials and the overgrown sanctuary. Those are room 1 through 4. Now, if I take you over to Incarnate, I can show you what those rooms currently look like. So this first room here, this is the entrance hall. And then we have the worship chamber, which does have a little altar here. And there's a book on there that we'll discuss. There's also a couple of these little statues in the side. And I believe this is where the necro spiders are going to be attacking you. In the first room, there is a blight-style monster that I believe I called the broadleaf blight. And actually, just for fun, let me show you a picture of him. So this is what the broadleaf blight looks like. So he's a bad guy. And he definitely poisons you and gives you a little bit of a hard time. So we'll talk about his stat block later when we're designing him. Then in this third area here, we have the Hall of Trials. And there is a secret passage here where, depending on what you do, you might be able to get a little bit of an easier way. The idea being this Hall of Trials is pretty much straight out of like an Indiana Jones concept. Like there's pressure plates on the floor, there's dart traps, there's et cetera, et cetera. But the people who were in this temple, they would have wanted an easier way to get through. And if the players, you know, poke around a bit, they might find it. So otherwise, they're going to be going through the trials. And then you have the overgrown sanctuary, which is like there's a little table here. There's a fountain in the middle. This is kind of a safety area for the players to get a short rest if they need to. Excuse me. There is also this area here is a hole in the floor with vines leading down to the next room. Otherwise, this area here is basically just a stairway that takes them down to the next room as well. It's kind of two different ways to get down there. It's just whether they're feeling adventurous or not, and we'll have to find a way to reward them for being adventurous, because that's what you do. So we are going to... Oh, I did a few things to this map that you didn't see last time. Nothing major. Basically just added a whole bunch of trees, and then just for the heck of it, I put like this little water feature here. Players won't even see it. It's totally just to make the map look done. But we'll talk about all that. Hidden scroll and fountain. Oh, that's right. Yes, there was something in the fountain that was a hidden scroll, I believe. Yeah, you're right. You had a treasure piece. How do you hide the passageway from players when they're looking at the map? Great question. So one of the best ways that I would do this, so there's two different ways to do this, right? If you're using a virtual tabletop, that's fairly easy. You just draw walls and you hide things, and whatever else Fog of War takes care of it for you. One of the harder things I have found to do, if you're doing this in person, is hiding secret passages. And part of it is, if you're not laying the map out like with physical pieces as they're discovering things, then obviously they're like, oh, well, there's a big black sheet over that area. There might be something there worth finding. I should poke around on this wall. You know, to some degree, you need your players to not metagame, but that's very difficult if you see a physical barrier. How do you? Carefully, I guess. The best way to do it in person is basically just have pieces that you're laying down as they're going. Or, you know, take some black pieces of paper and just kind of cover everything that doesn't matter at the moment so that it doesn't look obvious that you're covering that up. Yes, it was a haste scroll. Very good. So actually, let's go back to our notes here, and I do want to make sure that I have that. That's right. So there were going to be 3 shambling mounds, and we were talking about all these different things. Okay, so let's go down to the details here about room number 4. In the overgrown sanctuary, the fountain in the center of the room, stone fountain filled with fresh, clean water. Drinking from the fountain can restore some hit points. Hidden within the fountain is a scroll of haste. That's right. So I'm actually going to italicize and bold that. Unlocked by solving a riddle. And I believe, yes, we had the riddle figured out. Okay. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, which is great. I'm glad that you guys have this much of a memory. That's wonderful. So what I did here is I'm trying to set this document up to be useful, right? So I've added some headings and done all these things. So what I've done is I've added the floors and rooms. So these are a general overview of what they are if I just want to kind of look really quick, like I did at the beginning of the stream. We have the first floor, second floor, third floor, then just general design notes of the dungeon. But then I have the details of the rooms, and these are what we actually use ChatGPT to help us with, and kind of that refined end result of what we wanted the room to ultimately be. So in the case of the entrance hall, you know, here's the dimensions, here's kind of a description that I could read before I'm done, or maybe before I like make a PDF out of this. I would refine this to actually read a little bit better. But I have some descriptors, so I can kind of pick and choose what I want to say. If I want to talk about how it smells or how it sounds, feels, whatever, what the ground's made out of, and the ceiling. And then I also linked over to, I have a bestiary for my creatures that we're coming up with, because as I was looking at my notes to prepare for tonight's stream, I was like, oh, the stat blocks are kind of getting lost in the shuffle here. So I put a picture, and then I have the stat block that we will translate into Foundry VTT. So we have the Necrospider, the Broadleaf Blight, and then Cavathos, the Echoing Horror. Just such a cool picture. I would not want to meet that guy. And then his big stat block. Okay, so let's go and let's give one more quick little overview. So we had the entrance hall, which had the 2 broadleaf blights. We had the worship chamber, which his main thing was the book, or tablets. There were 3 different tablet pieces. And if you're able to deal with those tablets, I think that might have actually been what opened up the no, that wouldn't make a lot of sense if we had the 3 tablets open the secret door. It kind of would, but it kind of wouldn't, because I feel like they're going to do that, which makes the 3rd room completely irrelevant. But we can kind of think about that. Okay, and then the Necrospiders will attack. There's going to be 3 of those. And then the Hall of Trials, which is going to be that one with all the pressure plates. We have a few different traps. There's dart traps, flame traps, and a collapsing floor. And we could decide to have all 3 of those, or one of them, or whatever we want. But we'll decide that when we're actually mapping this out in Foundry. Okay, and then lastly, the Overgrown Sanctuary, which just kind of has a nice, somewhat relaxed area. The vines hanging down the collapsed section of the floor on the west side are not ordinary vines. They'll attack and attempt to constrict any players. That's what it was. We wanted to make it kind of like you could take the vines, which sounds fun, and then we're going to punish them for it, which might not be the nicest thing to do. But the exit is a vine-covered archway to the south wall leading deeper into the temple, a collapsed section of flooring on the west side of the room. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so why wouldn't they just take the stairs? I think it really just comes down to, did somebody convince them to go climb down the vines? That's actually, I kind of don't and also do like the concept of here's an easy stairway that you could just take down, or you could take the vines and climb through the floor. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to climb through the vines because that sounds way more fun. And then we hurt them for it. And ultimately the thing was just take the stairs. I think that's actually kind of funny. Okay. Tablets give clues to the Eldritch God. That's right. It was lore stuff. Yes. Thank you. I, believe it or not, I read a lot of this beforehand, but you guys are remembering it better than I did, which is wonderful. That means that it's kind of like good, right? Now we did have a couple of excerpts from a couple of books that are in the the Overgrown Sanctuary. So there were a couple of books left around, and there's excerpts there. This could be like a physical prop that you give your players. That could be really fun. Or it could just be, you read it to them. Maybe prepare something ahead of time and play like a little sound clip. I love doing stuff like that. I know that it's been a while. Actually, let me even pop back over here because it's worth talking just to you. So it's been a little while since I've run the campaign. I think it was the end of March that we ended, or maybe the beginning of March. But what I think end of February, it doesn't matter. What I had planned originally on doing was running this idea that I had for our 2-year anniversary. And believe it or not, I've been working on the idea since we ended the campaign. I've been drawing maps. I've been coming up with all these different things. The concept is something I'm so excited for. I absolutely plan on running it for the players, or, if they all decide to come back for a couple of games, that'd be great. I think it'd probably be like a 3-shot. But if they don't, I actually have made other friends in the TTRPG space that actually have I've told them a little bit about the idea, and they're like all about it too. I'm designing it so that a lot of the problems that are in this area, I'm trying not to give too much away, are randomized so that this could be played multiple times and it would be a different experience each time. So I think it's going to be really, really challenging, and to get through the whole thing will be impressive. So think like Dungeon of the Mad Mage a little bit. But I'm sure it's not going to be nearly as epic or whatever, but I'm going to aspire to be. It's going to be hard, very hard, but fair, I guess. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. So let's go to ChatGPT and kind of get right into this stuff. So a couple more people. Emily joined. Hey, Emily. Nice to see you. And Alan is here, as well as Mike. Hey, Mike. Nice to see you. So I'm very glad that you guys are all here. I used a lot of your ideas. That would make sense why you remember them so well. Okay, so the next thing that ChatGPT asked us is, would we like to proceed to the next room? So the next room is going to be room number 5. Yes. Now it's picking up this thread from the last time that we did this, which I always think is very cool. It's it's an amazing technology. I can't get enough of this. I find myself playing with it on my phone and just ideating on things while I'm sitting waiting in a line or whatever. And I'm constantly in here. Okay, so this is going to give us a little bit of an overview of, say, room 5, room 6. My guess is it's going to do the second floor here. It's going all the way to the Dark Nexus, which we'll talk about that. What's up, Dennis? All right, cool. So that's going to be all, that's going to be a few more rooms. So we're going to go to room 5. Now, I want to scroll up a little bit because there was a specific term that I used. Something like, I want to detail room 4. Let's find this. Could you describe room number 4? Okay. So let's do, could you describe room number 5? Now, earlier in the chat history, I had defined what I thought a description should be. And so this is going to give me very specific things. It's going to give the size of the room. It's going to give a description I could read, as well as smell, sound, feel, what the ground is made of, and what the ceiling's made out of, as well as where the entrances are, the exits, and whatever enemies and treasures might be in here. So this is really, really nice, and it's why it's useful to define your... I mean, they're I guess you'd call them like an interface or like a promise, depending on what languages you're working in. But in this case, it's a template. Let's go template. That's a fairly generic thing. Have you ever played an actual game with ChatGPT? I tried. It was kind of lame. It might be better at this point, but at the time that I tried it, it was kind of lame. Okay, so let's talk about Guardian's Chamber, because I know that we're going to want to change something about here. This references a stone golem, and yes, that's technically a thing we could use. It's just kind of boring to me, I guess, or maybe a little cliche. So we'll see. I mean, we're trying to avoid cliches, I suppose, although they're bound to happen. All right, so this room is going to be 35 feet wide, 45 feet long, with a ceiling height of 18 feet. Oh, I have to be aware you guys are zoomed way more in than I am. A large room guarded by a stone statue of an eldritch creature. The statue animates when intruders enter. The room is dimly lit by torches along the walls, casting long, flickering shadows. The air smells of old stone and dust, and there's an eerie silence except for the occasional sound of stone grinding against stone. Okay, so we're going to keep going with this in a second, but as I was reading that, I had this idea. So, we're talking eldritch horror. We're talking like this creepy monster. We started off with plant life, but then we immediately moved into just necrotic spiders. So we're going for like kind of a horror, or at least a tense and kind of scary theme here. I don't want a stone golem. I want something that is like made out of... I want to kind of go with this a little bit more, so I'm not quite there yet, but in my mind I'm picturing almost like a scarecrow, but larger, almost like a... What are those, like effigies, like a big hay-made effigy of like a monster. I want this to be, despite the super old thing, I want it to be what they created to look like what they think this eldritch god looks like, and it's going to be kind of like a scarecrow. So we're going to redefine this in a minute. Let's see. Have you ever played It's meh, you have to give it way too many prompts and guidelines to properly run. Yeah, the one thing I would say, and I haven't tried this since it became a thing, is ever since they let people create their own kind of canned GPTs, there is probably a really good one out there for a DM. Yeah, you know, I thought about bones, and I like the idea, but something about like moldy straw or like moldy hay with like just rags on it is kind of like creepy, especially if it's in the room and it's just there and it doesn't attack them immediately. I might go with something like that. Okay, so we got some smells, blah, blah, blah. Passage on the north wall leading from room 1. A doorway on the south wall leading to the next part of the temple. Okay, enemies, 1 stone golem. Description, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and here's a stat block for the stone golem. Okay, so let's prompt it. The room sounds good, but I want to change the stone golem to be a different monster. The monster should represent a straw effigy. I think that's how you spell effigy. Maybe EY? No, effigy. Of the eldritch god, whose name is... Where are you? Cavathos. Effigy of Cavathos. I think I would go with a soft, like a TH, you know, rather than T noise. Like Cavathos or Cavatos. The tos is a little bit harsher, which kind of fits the theme, but Cavathos, yeah, I don't know. The monster should represent a straw effigy of Cavathos, which is about, let's say, 9 feet tall. The stat block should represent a mildew covered hay effigy. It should have resistance to Pretty much everything, I would think. Definitely to bludgeoning. Bludgeoning. That's not how you spell bludgeoning, but that's okay. This is what happens when you can't spell. All right. Should have a resistance to bludgeoning. Resistance to magic. Magic. And I hate... so I'm thinking about whether it should be vulnerable to fire, because it's made of straw, but it's also just like damp straw that's been like moldy. And then like what would make it cool? What kind of cool stuff could we give this guy that would make it you know, let's see. Keep it cracking. Jungle Scarecrow Golem made of people eating plants. Interesting. Jungle Scarecrow Golem made of people eating plants. Do I want to have... I want to have it be able to restrain people by like separating the straw and like trapping them in it. So like if they like hit it with something, no, because they're not going to go through. Like maybe it could use a reaction to separate the straw and then whatever, and it like nullifies. No, because that's not really how the rules work. Like if you roll a 22 to hit and this thing's got a 16 armor class, but I say you can use a reaction to completely invalidate the hit, that feels bad. I guess it could take like half damage but also capture the player's hand. But how would you even write that? Yeah, I don't know that I love that. I think that's just more covered in the resistances. So just thinking about, all right, let's think about like mildewy hay. What kind of diseases does this thing have? What kind of attacks would it have? Well, let's just see. All right. Let's see what it gives us, and then we're going to generate an image of it, and maybe that will inspire us. A Venus flytrap. That could be fun. Except because it's, you know, more dangerous, it is blending in with the ground, in the like it blends in with the stone. Excuse me. The enemy is called a mildew-covered hay effigy. That's kind of awful. I don't want that to be called that. Let's see. Large construct, unaligned. Let's see. Armor class 13. Damage resistance, bludgeoning and magic. Poison, psychic, charm, blah, 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 blah. Alright, multi-attack. Slam attacks. Nah, that's kind of boring. Magic resistance, straw form. The effigy is immune to any spell or effect that would alter its form. Okay, I mean, that's fair. Nah, this guy's not interesting. Okay. Let's do this. This is what I do when I'm kind of lost. I go over to Midjourney, and all right, we're gonna create this guy. We're gonna make it look cool. So in Midjourney, let's say Dungeons and Dragons style, large hay mildew covered hay effigy of an eldritch god. 9 feet tall. Jungle temple background. We're going to do, after 9 feet tall, scary, terrifying, horror face. Horror face. I think that kind of gives it away. Sharp teeth. Jungle temple background. Okay. Cool. So, you know, just because we're kind of learning here, one of the things, cavitosis. One of the things I do kind of like here is, you know, obviously we're trying to learn together, right? So you'll notice in my prompt, I always identify the style first, and I typically say Dungeons and Dragons style. A few reasons for that. Obviously, I want it to have the context of what I'm trying to do with it. It's gotten smarter about this over time. Oh, I also need to type full body. So Dungeons & Dragons style, it's going to be whatever. Large mildew-covered hay effigy of an eldritch god, kind of explains itself. 9 feet tall, scary, terrifying, horror face, sharp teeth. Like, these are just things I want it to focus on. These are all terrible, and part of the reason for that is that I didn't put full body. Okay, so we're going to copy this whole thing again. I could edit it. I have found that editing prompts in Midjourney kind of sucks. Imagine, boom, Dungeons & Dragons style, full body monster concept is what you want. Let's try that. That first one's kind of cool, but it's just like not at all what we're trying to do here. I do want it to be more like there was let's see, Scarecrow from Chrono Cross. This is what I'm thinking of, except like less happy. So actually something I could do is, and it has like this nail through its chest. Something I really wish it wasn't dancing, because this is going to just make it silly. Let's try this. So we're going to do Imagine. Dungeons and Dragons style. Full body monster concept. Large mildew covered hay. Let's get rid of large. Mildew covered hay effigy. And then I'm going to paste the image. Make sure to do a space and then a comma, otherwise it's going to get confused with the URL. 9 feet tall, scary, terrifying, horror, sharp teeth. I got rid of horror face. Jungle temple background. All right, let's try that. Change hay to straw like you had. That's actually not a bad idea. I think that's actually a really good idea. Well, luckily we can have multiple threads going. So let's change the same thing from hay to straw. Cool. And now it'll do both at the same time. Let's see what these look like. Boy, I mean, that first one's kind of cool. But, well, let's see. How, I mean, not that we can't change it, but let's see what does it think the size of this room is? 35 feet wide, 45 feet long, with a ceiling of 18 feet. Okay, I mean, that's definitely big enough to fit something. So we could do that. But let's see what... Ooh, these are kind of more along what I'm looking for. Yes. Okay. I mean, it kind of looks... That last one's kind of right along the right line. I wish it was in a different art style, though. But that's not terrible. And the fact that its palms are on fire, like... Alright, so let's see. This one's a little better. Okay, so maybe instead of being made out of exclusively straw, it's like wood that's kind of cobbled together as an effigy. So then we're kind of looking a little bit more like a wood woad, which makes a little bit of sense. These look good. Let's see. I know that the screen's a little off. Let me do this instead. So from what you guys... I'm thinking that I kind of like this fourth one here. Groot has gained pyrotechnics. I think I like this fourth one here a lot. What do you guys think of this? Let's see if I can vary it strong. And I'm going to change the style. Dungeons and Dragons style. Let's say hyper realistic. That may not work. Just sometimes it doesn't love when you change it, the style, because then it's like, I don't know what to do with what I had. Regardless, I kind of like this guy. I'm going to probably take him. But let's see what the new image comes up with. And then if not, we'll just go with that. Meanwhile, I am going to open up my token thing. Just because I'm making these tokens as I go so I can utilize them later. Whoops. All right. Actually, I will throw this into the Mid-Journey one so I don't have to worry so much about changing windows. It's kind of cute. Yeah, good. You know, put people off. Yeah, I think I like this one. Okay, cool. So we're gonna open this up. We're gonna drag that over into my file stuff. There we go. Okay, and we're gonna call this straw effigy, at least for the moment. I'm gonna throw that over here. Boom, boom. Grab this. This guy is a problem. Now, I would probably utilize Photoshop. Like, if I was going to really run this, I would probably use Photoshop, and I would have, like, his hands go over the edges of the ring and all that stuff. But for the moment, I want more of his body in there. There we go. It's a little off-center, though. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's do that. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're live streaming. Okay, so we have straw effigy token. Cool. Okay, let's get rid of this and this and this and go back to ChatGPT. Okay, so now that we have created this based off the image, now I have a better idea of what to tell ChatGPT that I want its stat block to look like. Let's change the monster from being made of straw, being a combination of straw and let's say like wire. Yeah, straw and wood that is tied together with rusted wires. Rusted wire. Because, they would have wire. Why not? They have metal. They have weapons, all that stuff. Okay, so it should be able to use fire. Let's say burning hands. Burning hands. Use the burning hands spell as a monster feature. I want it to be able to do like one cool like I want this thing to be like menacing, but I want it to be a brute too. Like I want it to hit, and I mean it has 114 hit points, so that's pretty good. But it has a 13, so this guy's definitely built like a tank or like a a bruiser, whatever you want to call it. But I want it to have the ability to do something else cool. Let's see. What is it? So it can slam attack. So its slam attack is going to be a +8 to hit, so that's pretty good. It's only going to do 15 bludgeoning damage. But this is still level 6 character, so I mean 18 damage is actually going to be pretty hefty. Or 15 damage. Okay. All right, let's do that. Regenerate the stat block. All right. Cool, so it's going to update this. Change face to friendly. Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, you can really only ever... That's not a friendly face. Look, he's got the little piece of, little branch coming out of his forehead. I don't know. I mean, he's not terrifying, but he's also... I agree. Maybe they'll think that they could talk to him. Maybe they can talk to him. Probably not. All right, so let's see. We have room 5. We've got the smell, blah, blah, blah. Doorway to the south. All right, effigy of Cavathos. The effigy is about 9 feet tall, constructed from a mix of straw and wood tied together with rusted wire. It has a crude menacing face, and its limbs are reinforced with wooden stakes. When it animates, it moves with surprising speed and agility given its construction. Okay, that's cool. How about a unique weakness? Yeah, do you have any suggestions? I'm totally game. So let's see. So he's a large construct, so 13 AC, 114 hit points. His speed is only 30, considering it just said that he's really fast. I think I'm going to give him 40 feet. Let's change his speed to 40 feet. So that's the first one. So poison, psychic is immune. He has dark vision, which kind of doesn't really matter. Understands the language of its creator but can't speak. Okay, so it can't speak. It's a CR7, so I mean, that's pretty good. It makes 2 slam attacks, so it's going to 15, 30. So that's pretty damn good. And then Burning Hands recharges on a 5 or 6, so that's good. With a DC of 14, flame shoots forth, blah, 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 15-foot cone. Okay, I mean, that's pretty darn good. 3d6. This is becoming a lot more of a pain. But here's the thing. It needs something else. It needs something that's going to be like in the room with it. Give it the tentacle from the Fathom subclass flavored as hay. Huh. I'm just thinking because I know the final guy has tentacles of some sort. Let's double check those notes. Because it would make sense for the effigy to have a similar set of moves as this dude here, at least in some capacity. So this guy's mostly psychic, but that makes some sense. And they're like a cult that's making this effigy. They're not going to be able to impart psychic energy into it. At least I don't think so. But they can make it shoot fire, I guess? I don't know. It's magic. It could just do whatever. Let's see. Amorphous form, maddening presence, bite, tentacle. Okay, so this does have a tentacle. So actually, I could see it having some sort of a tentacle attack. What would that look like? Well, not literally, because I think that actually makes a lot of sense. All right, let's do this. Let's change its speed to 40 feet. Give it a tentacle attack that is themed after its body being made of straw. I don't really know what that means, but barbed wire. Oh, the barbed wire tentacles. That makes perfect sense, actually. Boy, this is actually nice having you guys help. All right. So, doorway on the south wall, blah, blah, blah. That's okay. Keep going, keep going. All right, so what do we got? We got our 18 strength, senses, dark vision. Come on. All right, 2 slam attacks, tentacle. Okay, so it on a hit, the target's grappled, and then it burning hands them. So, all right, we're going to change the treasures, but that's fine. So 13 bludgeoning damage. On a hit, the target's grappled. So I guess I'm giving it like a third appendage, because I'm not going to use a tentacle and grapple somebody and then not be able to slam them on the next attack, because 2 slams is more important than a tentacle. And the effigy can't use its tentacle on another target. Okay, so it does in fact have a third appendage. Okay. Oh, sorry, you can't read that. Okay. I mean, I think that this is cool. All right. Last update. Change the tentacle to be to use its barbed, its rusty wire. While what is it? Grappled. The player should take additional damage. Slashing damage. Yeah, let's go with that. I like the 1 tentacle because I think what's going to end up happening. So let's say we have 4 players. This guy by himself, he's going to be able to control 1 person, hopefully, while beating the crap out of somebody else. Yes, all 4 of the players, like, I can't just make him like a, can I? I mean, I guess I could. I'm trying to think, like, I don't want to kill the players with this guy yet, because it really is just like a straw man, and there's plenty of more stuff coming. But I also don't want them to burn him down in like 1 turn. So I think the higher HP is more important in case I miss with the tentacle. Having 2 tentacles might feel a little cheap, because you tentacle, slam. Like that's a really big deal. I think that's a little too tough. So I think I would keep this as the way it is right now. But all right, so the room is a large room guarded by an effigy of Cathathos made from a combination of straw and wood tied together with rusted wire. The effigy animates when intruders enter. The room is dimly lit by torches along the walls, casting long, flickering shadows. The air smells of old stone, dust, and mildew. An eerie silence pervades, broken only by the occasional rustle of straw and creak of wood. Okay, so there's going to be something different to set this guy off in here. You know what I might do is I'm going to have torches on the walls that are not lit, and if they light any of them, this effigy is going to come to life. But I'm going to make it like, I'm going to make a big deal about how dark it is in here. And I'm going to really make a point to point out the torches on the wall, because I think once they light the torch, the effigy's hands also catch on fire or something like that. Okay. In this room, I'd like there to be 4 unlit torches on the, let's say sconces. If any of the sconces are lit, then the effigy will come to life. Yeah, I mean, maybe they just skip this room altogether if they don't light any of the torches. I mean, I can't imagine they'd be in this room, super dark, and see this thing and not, like, poke at it. But if it does nothing, they might be like, oh, this thing's cool. It looks like the god. Like, it has a reason to exist, even if it doesn't attack them. Shooting vines is with the thorns. Okay. Bludgeoning magic. Okay, yep, so it's still going. All right, so we're going to go over to our notes here. And we are going to make a new entry for effigy of Cavathos. You know, the more I say Cavathos, the more it's kind of growing on me, which is great. Get rid of you. Drop this here. Boom. Effigy of Cavathos. Come on. Normal text, heading 2. Is that... No. What have I been doing? Is it heading 3? Yeah, heading 3. Okay. Okay. And then Necrospider. I'll worry about that. I don't need to be doing this while you guys are watching. That's super boring for you. Sorry about that. Although I'm totally doing it anyway, apparently. Okay. Well, whatever. Effigy of Cavathos. So we've got this guy. We will shrink him a bit. And we will put his stat block below. All right. Large construct. Now, I don't like his treasure. Which at the moment... well, actually, I guess we could just have it be 2 potions of greater healing. And ignore the map that it wants us to do. So I think we'll just do that. Trigger mechanism, there are 4 unlit sconces in the room. If any of the sconces are lit, the effigy will come to life and attack intruders. Perfect. Cool. Perfect. Love it. All right. So now we've got room 4 defined. We need to write up room 5, which is going to be heading 3. If I did this more, it would be like second nature and I wouldn't have to keep looking these things up. All right, let's grab our definition of room number 5. Guardian's Chamber. Okay, cool. And we'll draw that in Incarnate in a little bit. All right, let's go to room 6, because at the moment we've been going okay. We just I'd like to make a little bit more progress. All right, let's move on to room 6. Yeah. So I'm curious to know, since you guys are just kind of hanging out, how many of you are in a game, like actively? And tell me a little bit about it, because that could be fun. All right, so the next room is going to be the Library of the Ancients. So we've got our dimensions, 30, 50, 12. Man, there's a lot of variety in the height of these rooms. The description is, shelves of ancient moldy tomes line the walls. Some books crumble to the touch, but others contain valuable information. The room is filled with musty odor, and the sound of pages rustling in the faint breeze can be heard. The air is thick with dust, making it slightly difficult to breathe. Cool. Sounds like a library. Smell, sound, feel, ground. All right, the ground is made of stone slabs covered in a thin layer of dust and scattered with fragments of old decayed books. The ceiling is 12 feet high, supported by wooden beams, some of which show signs of rotten decay. There's a room entrance to the north, an exit to the east, leading to the next part of the temple. And there's going to be 2 specters in here. Okay. Haunting the library, these spirits attack intruders to protect the knowledge within. I think I would rather have them be kind of like... I don't want them to just walk into every room and have something attack them. That's kind of boring. So these are going to be more role play style. So we're not really... We are going to... we're going to stat them as specters in case they choose to attack. But we'll have to see what we want them to do. I think they're going to be specters of... I guess we'll just have to commit. Like, at this point, there was a cult. I think we're going to make it... There'll be 2 specters of, like, not librarian, maybe like a, what would you call it? I guess maybe like a, yeah, like a lore keeper, I guess. Somebody who's just kind of like knows everything about this eldritch horror, and you can potentially ask them some questions. All right, traits, actions. All right, let's do this. All right, change the specters to be NPC. I would like to change its. Nope. I would like to change this room. The specters should not be hostile immediately, and instead should act as NPCs that the players could learn more about this temple from. Specific pieces of information that they should have. Let's do list out specific pieces of information that they have about the temple generally. Then we will define them better. Okay. They should, if the all right, let's do this. So there's a thing called oh, what is it? It's like all right, what's the guy's name? It's How to Be a Great GM. Ogas, I believe is what it's called. So this guy, he goes by, I actually don't remember what his name is, and I listen to a podcast from him like every day, or every week. So OGAS stands for Occupation, Goal, Attitude, and Stake. There's also like a longer version of this where, all right, let's do this instead. So I am going to go to a very famous YouTuber, Dungeons and Drams NPC Creation. There is a template that I defined in this video. Oh, shut up. Where is this? Okay, cool. All right, let's do this. I consider an NPC to have the following information, and then boom. Okay, cool. So hopefully it doesn't start. Oh, of course it did. I really wish it wouldn't do that all the time. It's just generating a person despite me ever telling it to. Okay. While it's doing that silliness, I would like to change this room. The specters should not be hostile immediately and instead should act as NPCs that the players could learn more about this temple from. List out specific pieces of information that they have about the temple. Generally, then... No, I'm going to get rid of that. About the temple. Utilize the NPC template to create these two cult members. To create these two specters as cult members of Cavathos. Alright, let's see what this does. I'm just going to ignore... what is it? Eldrinor fail. More like GPT fail. Okay. So now it's redefining that room. Religious fanatics. I like that. Ah, Mike. Poor Mike. And recycled. Well, that's too bad. Alright, so we have Arvander Soth. And then we also have Larian Voss. He's a human. The other one's an elf. Perfect. Okay, so we've got our... We have our definition of our area here. We've got our first specter. It was an elf named Arvander Soth. He's a male. He's asexual as a specter. A very sexy specter. Personality. Arvander is calm and analytical. He was once a fervent believer in the cult of Cavathos and still retains his dedication to the Eldritch God. He is eager to share his knowledge, but wary of those who might misuse it. As a specter, Arvander is an ethereal figure with faintly glowing eyes. His spectral form retains the tall and slender build he had in life with long flowing hair and a translucent shimmering robe. He's chaotic neutral. The The example of his speech, I liked this part. It's, the knowledge contained within these walls is not for the faint of heart. Cavathos grants wisdom to those who dare to seek it, but beware, for it comes at a price. Just very analytical, but like calm. Librarian, blah, blah, blah. Okay. He took his role to ensure that only the worthy could access the forbidden knowledge of Cavathos. Okay. So maybe there's going to be, you have to prove something that you've learned earlier in the temple. Arvander took his role to ensure that, okay, yep. Spellcasting, okay. He knows the true nature of Cavathos and the consequences of summoning him, but he keeps his knowledge hidden. Arvander, okay. Information Arvander can provide. The history of the cult of Cavathos and their rituals. Okay, that's useful. The layout of the temple and the location of important rooms. That's very useful. The dangers of summoning Cavathos and the price of seeking his knowledge. Even better. Cool. All right, now we have Larian Voss, who's a human. Or she is a human, female. Passionate and slightly unhinged. Ooh, that could be fun. With a fervent dedication to Cavathos, she's both a source of valuable information and a cautionary tale about the dangers of the Eldritch God. As a specter, Larian is an ethereal figure with wild flowing hair and eyes that glow with a faint, eerie light. Her spectral form is that of a young woman in tattered, flowing robes. Cavathos is the key to unlocking the universe's secrets. Embrace the madness, for only it can... Embrace the madness, for only through it can true understanding be achieved. Okay, so she's a cult priestess. That's cool. Driven by a desire for power and knowledge, believing Cavathos would grant her the secrets of the universe. Okay, so what does she know? Details about the dark rituals and the powers granted by Cavathos. Hints about the weaknesses of Cavathos and how to exploit them. Clues about the hidden chamber and secrets within the temple. Excellent. Could you generate an image of Arvander? Arvandor? Arvander Soth. Could you generate an image of Larian Voss? All right. So, ooh. Wait. Arvander was not... Oh, Arvander wasn't... Arvander was an elf. My mistake. But that... I don't know. Kind of looks... female, I would say? Is Arvander... No, it was a male. I mean, I know it's an elf, but... I mean... Oh, you guys can't see that super well. Alright, let's just do this. Oh, boy. Okay. So let's do it this way, because then you guys can see it this way. I don't love that. I just feel like Arvander... let's try this. What is the prompt you used to generate Arvander Soth? I could also just say regenerate the image and make Arvander look more like a guy. I do like this one here, though. She's, like, nuts. I think that's actually kind of perfect. So maybe I'll just use them both. Can you generate Arvander and make him look a little more manly? Like, I know that it's an elf, but that totally looks like a woman, right? As far as elves go. I mean, the hair's a little weird. I think maybe it's just the shirt. Whatever. Either way, I love this one, and I'm gonna use this for what's her name? So we're gonna grab that. And then I think we'll probably head over to Incarnate in a minute, just because I don't want to bore you guys. Like, I just feel like doing too much of the same thing over and over again is like a little bit too long. Plus, we've got a couple of rooms at this point. We could certainly design them. Okay, that looks much better. Excellent. Okay, so now let's name them real quick. So we've got Arvander. Is this dude? Arvander Soth. And Larian Voss. Excellent. Okay, so those are in my files now. Okie dokie. So we've got all of this information. I'm going to throw this over into my note-taking app. Now, if I'm running this, I am probably adding quite a bit more detail to these things so that I know what I'm reading or writing or you know, acting or whatever else. But all in all, these are really good improv notes for all of this stuff. And if I find myself speaking as Arvander, I think between that and the example of the speech, that's really all I need to get going until the players start talking back to me. Okay, so we have all of this. We can define some of the additional points that they could reveal as far as information, but we will do that later. All right, let's go to Incarnate. I'm kind of in the mood to make a map. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. So this map is currently saved. So I'm actually going to save this as a clone, level 2. Because what I want to do is I want to keep all of the blocks and like the colors and everything that I've defined here. So we are going to grab our definition of, what is it, room number 5, Guardian's Chamber. And we are going to make it. Okay, so we know that we want to start up. Well, let's see. This has a entrance from the north and a doorway to the south leading to the next part of the temple. The next one is going to be a door on the north and then a door to the east, so leading to the next part of the temple. Yeah, so I think we'll probably kind of start up at the top again, way up here. All right. So 35 wide, 45 long. So let's do that. 35 wide. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so that's actually perfect. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Actually, it's a little small. We are going to get rid of some of these trees to make life easier for ourselves. And then I'm also going to grab kind of all of this and just shift it over. And we are going to grab our... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Now the room's bigger. All right. But we know that we have those vines coming down from the top. So we want to, first off, we want to get rid of like half this stuff, or pretty much all of this stuff. We really just want the room. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of all of this. Okay. Excellent. Let's even get rid of just all of this. Cool. And then we are going to paint over the room. Make this huge. Make it a lot easier. And then paint. Paint, paint, paint. Well, that's interesting. Okay. I don't know why it's not painting over the top, but here, let's do foreground. Top. There we go. Okay, I think it was just lagged. All right, so we've got our room. Let's see, is it 35 wide, 45 long, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So we are going to delete a couple of walls. Boom, boom. Grab this, push it up, and we are good. We have our room. Okay, and then let's get rid of that. Now, before we do anything else with this, let's just design the next room, which we know is going to be 30 wide, 50 long. All right, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. But I actually would rather just to not have it be the exact same. Let's move the door over a bit. It's going to be right in the center of the room. And call them religious fanatics. I do think I'll change to that. All right. 30 wide, 50. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then, so we know we don't want this. And we know we do want that. Sorry, guys. I know this part's probably not the most riveting content. That's all right. I'll have to find some way to kind of chat. Oh, you know what? Actually, while I'm doing this, so I have a fun story to tell you guys. So, totally off topic of D&D, but more just life stuff. So, last week, I was, hold on, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay. Last week, I had a day off, and on not on 4th of July, it was actually on Friday. I was off 4th of July too, but took Friday off, and we went to a water park. And I have 2 kids. They're 10 and 8. And we went to a water park. And at this water park, they had one of those water slides that it's like a tube that you stand in, and then the floor drops out from underneath you. And they lock you inside kind of thing. So I did this as the second water slide of the day, about 10 o'clock in the morning. So when you go into this thing, they have this heartbeat that is playing through some speakers inside. So you step inside, they close the door, and then the speakers go, and it counts down 3, 2, 1, and then the floor drops. And then while you're doing this, though, there's like it's really trying to build up the stress. So I stand inside the thing, they close the door, 3, 2, 1, nothing happens. I'm just standing there. Nothing's happening. And I look kind of, it's all clear, see-through, and I'm looking at the lady outside, and she's like hitting all these little buttons on the side, and the audio is still going like doo 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 doo, and my heart's kind of doing the same thing. And the whole time I'm just like, I'm going to just be dropped at any given point, and without the timer, like it's awful. You're just standing there waiting, and it ended up that the machine broke. So then they had to reopen the door, which that door is not supposed to open. And then they had to kind of take me back out, except the problem is the whole time that they're taking me out, it's like I'm worried that the floor is just going to open up and I'm going to like whack my face on the, on the part I'm trying to step on or something like that. And the whole thing was absolutely terrifying, which, I'm a pretty big dude. There aren't a whole lot of things in this world that scare me. And that particular instance was absolutely terrifying. I actually had to go and kind of like sit down for a few minutes, and I was just like, honey, take the kids on a couple of rides. I'm just gonna sit here and like be happy that I didn't die. But yeah, man, that was probably one of the scariest things that's happened to me in recent years. All right, so we've got our rooms here designed. Okay, so Library of the Ancients. All right, let's go to the Guardian's Chamber first. So we know that we want to have 4 different sconces. So what I want to do first is I want to have some pillars. And these pillars are going to be right in the middle of the room. Boom, 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 boom. I kind of hate those. They're not the right shape. Neither are these. Oh, that's actually not terrible. All right, we'll go boom, 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 boom. Okay, and on each one of these is going to be a torch. Whoops. Or specifically, like I said, a sconce. So we're going to rotate this a little bit. We're going to put that there. We're going to put this here. The idea being these things should be on when you're walking through to get to the next door, which you can totally see. And because you can see that next door, you're just going to try to walk through, but it's going to be so dark. All right, but over here, Deus, maybe? Just wanted to let you know I found your channel through your ChatGPT videos. Have been such a big help to me doing some world building. Keep up the good work. Awesome, Gliz. Thank you very much for stopping by and letting me know that. I appreciate that. Let's say altar. Cool. So I don't want to do the same kind of altar that I did before, so I think we might just use some wood. And maybe try to find like some sort of a, like this is a wood roof. But I think something like this could totally work. We're just going to have that be there. We're going to change the color a little bit. Because I think it's too bright. Especially if it's just been sitting here like rotting away. We're going to reduce the saturation just a tad too to make it look rotten. Yeah, that's way better. And it looks like it belongs there. Okay, so something I can do is I can lower... Yeah, there we go. I lowered the level, so now it's behind the wall, and it looks like it's kind of part of the wall. And I'm going to end up putting that creature on this thing. But what kind of things would we put in this room if they had this whole like effigy thing. So I like maybe a hay bale or two, but you guys heard what I was describing this as earlier. What kind of set dressing should I put in this room? Let's go hay. All right, and then we're gonna make this real moldy. We're also gonna kind of pile it. All right, so let's see the hue. We want to get like a greenish, gross. Yeah, there we go. We want to reduce the saturation by a lot. Blech. And the brightness. Maybe raise the contrast. Yeah, that looks pretty gross. Nice. I think that looks perfect. All right, we're going to pile these on top of each other a little bit. So it looks like it's raised up a little bit. You know, if Anomio was here, I'm sure he would jump up on it. We're going to put a couple more over here. Maybe some barrels in this room. I think barrels make sense. All right, barrel. We want from over the top down, I should say. All right, we're gonna have some barrels. Boom, 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 boom. Because people gotta drink. Of course they do. All right. Again, I like to stack things because I like the idea of either making a drop on people if they really fail a roll, or giving them the opportunity to jump on it because it's fun. But I love to stack things. So we're gonna do kind of like a pyramid of barrels over here. I think there's actually a tag in here for like junk. Nope. Let's see. What is this? This should have a tag. Harbor, market. That's not what we want. We don't want containers. We want like stuff. All right, let's see what else we have. These are food just on the ground somewhere. Boom, why not? Okay. I don't know that... All right, well, what we need is those vines coming down from the top here. Well, let's see, because the vines are actually, they wouldn't lead into this room. They're just there, and they're a problem. And if you touch them, you're going to have a problem, and you might fall. So actually, the vines from room number 4, if you were to fall, you would just take some fall damage and have to be rescued. They're not going to specifically lead into this room. They're totally there just as a trap. Oh, bucket with nails. Sure. You know what? Because you gotta... Actually, that's true. Is there wire? Nope. Fence? How about chain? Yeah, chain works. Cool. We'll do like a spool of chain. I'll put that over here. We'll just put it like... No, that's terrible. We'll put that over here, and we'll make it a little smaller. And people might be like, what the heck is this? It's a big thing of chain. Cool. All right, but what we do need is... This should be a little smaller. That's the entrance. Okay, cool. All right, people walk in here, and then they look around, and they see stuff. And let's have some, like, broken, like, wooden chairs and stuff, or wooden something. Wooden cage wall. What else would you... Well, you'd probably have some, like, candles, right? Unlit, probably, because old. Let's do a skull with a candle on it. That's gonna be sitting right next to the effigy. One there. One there. Nice. That makes sense, because why not? As well as a... This is a holy candle, but it kind of looks like a dagger. Let's do another altar over here on this side, kind of looking at it. Except, no, we want it to look this way. We want them to have been, like, saying prayers to this thing from behind the altar. Yeah, that sounds good. And then there's going to be a couple books on the ground, which we'll have to name because people are going to see books, especially since we've kind of given that precedent. There's some broken books up there. I don't like where that is. Let's try it over here. Okay, I mean, that's good enough. Cool, we'll save that. Okay, so next we have the Library of the Ancients. So this is 30 feet wide, 50 feet long, shelves of ancient moldy tomes. Okay, so this is just going to have a whole bunch of books. This is mostly the library area, which should be very easy to do. Library. Is that a hashtag library? Yeah, it is. Tag. Nice. If you find yourself using Incarnate, definitely make use of the tags. They help a lot. All right, so we are going to have just a whole bunch of... I want this. This is a broken fireplace, but I look at it as a... Whoops. Where is it? Oh, jeez. When did I type the word wooden on the screen? That's funny. Okay. I don't know how that happened. Let's go with this. This is a broken fireplace, but it kind of looks to me like a broken bookshelf. So we're going to put a few of these. Actually, we're going to change the color here because it looks not like it's from this area. Gonna try to match the walls just a tad. Cool. Yeah, that looks way better. And we're gonna have a few bookshelves, as well as we're gonna put a couple more pillars in here. Okay. You know, at least one of these should be still intact. They're just all broken. Maybe not. Oh, this could look like that. All right. And then we'll have to kind of fiddle with the hue again. There we go. All right, and now we want to get some books. Book. Perfect. Boom, ba-doom. All right, if we zoom in, this is going to take a minute, but I find if you go fairly quickly, if you right-click, then things work out. Like you kind of place it, and then you right-click, and then you place it, and you right-click. It's not terrible. All right, so there's a whole bunch of books here, and now one of the treasures that was in this room is like a magic spell or two. So we definitely want to, like, we don't need to have a name or whatever for all of these books. It's not the worst thing to have a list of names of books. In case players ask, but for now, this does not matter. There was actually a better one I could have just used. Oh well. Book on the ground. Of course, these are like moldy. Boom, 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 boom. And we are going to select all of these because there's no way that these things would be so vibrant. So we're going to reduce the saturation on all of them. And then probably the brightness. That's a little bit too consistent across all of them. Like, I feel like the saturation should be slightly pumped on a couple and whatever else. Okay, so what else would be in a library? There would be, we know that we want to have a couple of columns, and actually we might even light some sconces in here, which would be kind of fun because you're getting deeper into the you're getting deeper in here, and suddenly the lights are on and you're like, why are the lights on? That doesn't make any sense. I like that. All right, so there's a few books here. Let's have a tattered old rug, because who the hell would put a rug in here though? All right, but we're gonna have one anyway. There we go. A little too big. I was trying to have it not be a problem to overlap the pillars, but I do think it's a problem. All right, let's make that look gross. Yeah, that looks nice and gross. Perfect. Oh, that looks perfect. I like that. Okay, so next we know that we're going to have our specters in there. Let me make sure I didn't miss any major features in this room. I might change my definition of the rooms to include like notable items in the room, just like set dressing. That would actually help with these with the designing quite a bit. All right, so we've designed 2 more rooms in Incarnate. We've saved our map. Well, let's go back to Midjourney. Sorry, not Midjourney, ChatGPT. All right, can you add? All right, I want you to consider the definition of our rooms so far. That's not definition. For future rooms, oh my gosh, can you add set dressing style items? Things that I would want to make sure I was putting in them when designing my maps. Okay. Oh, figures. I swear, this thing drives me crazy when it does this. It's such a waste of time. All right, well, let's see what it does. Set dressing items, dusty cobweb-covered bookshelves lining the walls, an ancient rotting wooden desk in the center of the room covered in open tomes and scattered parchment. Okay, so let's do that. I mean, that is kind of what I wanted, I suppose. Desk. Let's grab a desk. I think this raven silk one would actually end up looking really good. As long as I make it look less shiny. So we're gonna reduce this brightness again. Actually, contrast? Nah. Yeah, it's not terrible. But I am gonna just make it slightly askew. Yeah, little askew. There we go. Or, let's be real fun. Let's have them... They'll have put this up against this door. As if they were trying to block something from coming out. I like that idea. Alright, so let's see. What else does ChatGPT say? Oh, whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Cobwebs. I didn't put cobwebs, but that's alright. Large faded tapestry. Oh, this is great. Flickering enchanted candles floating near the ceiling, casting eerie shadows. Cool. A broken ancient globe of the world, ornate cracked mirror, piles of crumbled books, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's do that real quick. I would love to put some candles in here. And that's right, I had said that I was going to have... whoops, these look weird. I had said I was going to have the candles actually lit. Which we can worry about that later, and what that looks like in terms of the map that we're going to be making. All right. Let's get a sconce. Torch? There you are. Okay. Boom. 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 Now, all of these lights are going to be lit, and that's going to be weird, but that's okay, because the specters are going to be in here just kind of like maintaining the library. So there's a little bit of reasoning for why that would be active. All right, so let's go back to ChatGPT. Let's do room number 7 and 8. Can you generate room number 7? You know, when I was considering doing this for a stream, I really should have restricted this down to, like, 3 rooms. Okay, we have Hall of Mirrors is up next. 20 feet wide, 60 feet long, with a ceiling height of 15 feet. Long, narrow corridor is lined with tall mirrors that distort reality and create illusions. Navigating through the hall without triggering traps requires keen perception and a steady mind. Let's see. The corridor of unnerving, silent, blah, blah, blah. Tall, ornate mirrors lining the walls. Small, flickering torches. Occasional patches of cracked and broken glass on the floor. Ornate, gilded frame around a particularly large mirror that stands out from the rest. Okay. And this has an entrance on the... Oh, that's right. I made a boo-boo. Okay. We actually want the exit to be to the east on this one. All right, so we're going to move that up there. We are going to take this piece here, move that there, and then we are going to throw this here. Okay, cool. And maybe now the idea of blocking off the entrance or whatever, or the blocking the exit doesn't really make a whole lot of sense anymore, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna make this smaller. Sorry. That's not great. All right, let's check out the other doors. It's this one instead. All right, we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that. And we're gonna have this. Cool. Okie dokie. So the next room is, as I said, it's 20 feet wide, 60 feet long. Okay, so we're gonna have 20 feet wide. Let's even push this up a little bit. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So it's actually going to start. All right. And then 60 feet long? 60 feet. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Okay. So that's the end. And then the exit door on the south wall leading to the next part of the temple. Okay. So the... Oops. Oh, that's funny. Apparently when I was painting over things earlier, I did it wrong. How do I erase you? Maybe I just kind of... Oh, there's an erase tool. Cool. Alright, so we'll have the exit be like right there. Okay. So how many of you guys out there have watched the main campaign? Just out of curiosity. And what'd you think? I was sad that I had to end it when I did. It just kind of had to. But I was enjoying it for a while. It just kind of it got to be a lot of work, as you would imagine. That's why I think I have a lot more likelihood to just kind of run a few one-shots. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we are going to do, boom, I think that's pretty good. Okay, and then we will have the door right there. Boom, cool. All right, nice wooden door over there. All right, you guys still alive out there? All right, let's see. What else has been going on? I saw today that Sam from Critical Role had tonsil cancer. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I saw that Sam has had tonsil cancer, which is really, really brutal, obviously, but he got past it, which is great. Or at least he's in recovery. It was weird because like there was something that happened in the game that they were playing, and then he was gone for like a couple of months, or about a month, and I was like, oh, this seems strange that he's gone so long, and at least there was a reason. All right, so the set dressing here is long narrow corridor is, let's see, lined with mirrors. I know I kind of read some of this. Tall ornate mirrors lining the walls. Okay, so I got to put a whole bunch of mirrors in here. Some torches. Campaign was great, except for the end. I was hoping for delayed wrap-up. Yeah, do I prefer 5th edition over the older editions? Goldschlager, great question. So I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately, specifically with 4th edition and kind of why that existed. So knowing that like D&D Beyond and just Wizards of the Coast in general are trying to make a VTT now, like the whole idea of 4th edition, in my mind at least, I mean, not that I'm alone in this thinking, was trying to set themselves up to be better able to be adapted to video games. And that's why I think they really, really dug deep into a lot of not only the rules, but also the lore. The lore of D&D from 4th edition is like second to none. me personally, I prefer 5th edition just to play, because I think it's way more accessible to people, and I think that's very important. More people are playing D&D now than really ever, and I think that's good. I think it's a really good thing, actually. Yeah, I agree. It was a fun way to spend a Monday night. It's actually why I'm doing this on Monday night, and I could see myself doing some streams more frequently, like not every week, but maybe like every other week or a couple times a month. Let's see. So illusory traps. So I want to find out like what this room's even about. The mirrors create illusions that can mislead and confuse players. Navigating without triggering these illusions requires a successful DC 15 perception check. Some mirrors create 8 duplicates of the players that attack them. Each duplicate has the same stats as the original, but only half the hit points. Okay. Whispering mirrors. At certain points, the mirrors whisper cryptic messages and riddles that, if answered correctly, reveal hints about the temple or deactivate traps. Failing to answer correctly can... This is a lot. Behind one of the mirrors is a small hidden compartment containing 3 pearls worth 50 gold pieces each. Amulet of proof against detection and location. See, neither one of those are going to be useful in a single, just think like a one-shot. Okay. At certain points, all right. So let's get some mirrors in this room, though, and let's just kind of think this one through. So, our choices of mirrors are pretty terrible. Let's see what we have under jungle. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I really enjoy these creative streams. I also hope you continue to make videos. I definitely will, Goldschlager. I did the Kraken video last week, so I really wanted to... Actually, I could talk about that. That was a very cool thing, actually. I enjoyed that a lot. So a couple of channels, Ginny D and Pointy Hat, put together Kraken Week, which was, make some content about, like, water something or other. And unfortunately, very late in the whole preparation thing, they actually reached out to me and they said, hey, we get what you do. We don't dislike it or anything, but we don't really want to promote AI stuff. And they say that, there's too much controversy around it, and basically people that make a living making art or making content, it's kind of a danger to them. And I totally get that. So I agreed. I said, oh yeah, you know what? No problem, but let me put something together. Unfortunately, the day that they told me this, I was leaving for like a week-long vacation. So I kind of had to put something together very quickly. So I wasn't able to really make anything, but I had aspirations of doing like a water temple in a similar style to what I'm doing right now. But instead I kind of just did the one video of talking about how to use the Kraken for low level play, which I thought was a good enough concept. But I definitely it was not what I would have put out had I had more time to prep. That being said, I understand their hesitance to use AI. Can't you just tell it to re-roll the rewards? Maybe give it a guide to try and make it thematic to the puzzle. Absolutely, definitely. I'm gonna change the rewards for sure. I'm trying to figure out, like, so all right, they walk into this room, and I've got to put some torches in here. So I know I've been using sconces, but I don't want to in this room. I want to use torches because I think it'd be more fun to comment on how the light is playing with the mirrors. All right, so we're gonna put a couple of torches in, just in between each mirror. We'll start there. But I'm trying to get a handle on like what to do with this room. So if I'm doing a one-shot, like, the players aren't going to care so much about their backstories, but maybe it could be a good little excuse for them to talk about what they've bothered to think about with their characters. So it'd be like, all right, you walk into this room, there's mirrors all over the place, and then they're like, well, I go look into a mirror. And each mirror that they look into, if they look into it, they need to roll a wisdom saving throw, it sounds like. Otherwise, something happens. And I can, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Okay. Sometimes it's nice to just talk these things out. All right. So let's switch over to here. All right, let's rethink room number 7. I like the mirrors and the idea that you need. All right. No, let's reword this. This room is good. However, let's come up with 10 different things that could happen when a player looks into a mirror and fails their let's not even looks into a mirror. This should be a random table of thematic repercussions that repercussions. Make one of them positive. Also, this will be run as a one-shot, so the players don't have a lot of use for gold or things that won't help them in the moment. Can you generate some different treasure for this room? Cool. I think that'll be good. I like that we kind of thought this through. So the idea is you look into each one of these, and if you decide to look into a mirror, roll a d10, and then one of these things will happen. I like that. Or maybe I have each random occurrence have a different DC. Oh, perfect. It's actually doing exactly that. Although it seems like most of them are DC 15, but this is exactly what I would have done. That's great. All right, so Mirror of Terror. The player sees the worst fear reflected back at them. They must make a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened for a minute. Mirror of Shadows. The player's reflection reaches out and tries to pull them in. They must make a DC 15 Dex saving throw or take 2d6 necrotic damage. Mirror of Echoes. The player hears whispers that reveal a hidden door in the corridor. The player gains advantage on their next perception check. Mirror of Frost. The mirror emits a blast of cold air. The player must make blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Mirror of Flames. So mirror bursts into flames. The Mirror of Strength. The player's reflection flexes its muscles and the player feels a surge of power. They gain a +2 bonus to strength for the next hour. That's actually really funny. Mirror of Madness. The player's reflection laughs maniacally. The player must make a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw or be affected by short-term madness for 1 minute. That's cool. I'll have to define what that is. Mirror of Clarity. The player's reflection reveals a clue about the next room's puzzle. The player gains advantage on their next intelligence check. Okay. Mirror of Illusion. The player's reflection morphs into a hideous creature. The player must make a DC 15 whatever or be charmed. And then Mirror of Healing. The player's reflection glows a warm light and they are healed for 2d8 hit points. That's great. I think this is fantastic. I've really enjoyed the room puzzles this has come up with for me. Many ideas I've never heard or thought of, but are really cool to play out. Totally agree. And actually, so now we've got a Potion of Greater Healing, a Scroll of Protection from Evil and Good, and a Wand of Magic Missiles. That could be great. I think I'm going to just make it be like a Wand of Magic Missiles. For something short like this, that could be just a fun little thing to have. Okay, so I love this. I'm definitely going to grab this room and add it to our notes. All right, boom. So now we've got, so that was room 6. Okay, cool. So now we have room 7. Hall of Mirrors. Oops. Perfect. Okay, excellent. I'm just going to get rid of these because I want it to just be a magic missile. We are, however, going to go to Incarnate, and behind, let's say, this... man, where's my short one? Let's say behind this mirror, there is a little room that's going to house the magic missiles item, the wand. So In this case, I should have just left it there, but that's okay. We're gonna shrink this down. Nice. All right. By the way, if you guys are watching and you're enjoying this, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It definitely helps. It'll make this show up in people's feeds tomorrow morning if more people like it. One of those things you don't always think about. We're going to put a chest in here. Although I don't really like any of those jungle style chests, and I just think it'd be more fun to put big iron chest in there. Boom. Alright. Is there anything like a tapestry? I think it'd be cool to have a painting, maybe? Art. Nah. Okay, that's fine. What is this? Canvas. Oh, that's interesting. Except that doesn't make any sense to have it be like... whatever. Okay. So... does it need a room? What if reality breaks around, like a mirror breaking, revealing the wand in the room? Oh, kind of like behind them? Yeah, that's a good idea. See, in my mind, I was kind of more just thinking like you're looking at the reflection and then it just disappears and it's like a walkthrough. But it could be something more like, you know, you see a chest behind you in the reflection and you go open it, blah, blah, blah. That's a good idea. You know, I like that better. Sure, why not? When they solve the puzzle, yeah, of course. Okay, so in that case, we'll just have an icon for a chest that they deal with in game. Okay, so let's go over to room number 8. Let's do room number 8. Man, it's like 100 degrees down here. It was like it was over 90 degrees where I live, in Massachusetts today. And my basement is where I am right now, and it's just very hot down here. All right, Dark Nexus is the next one. Okay, 40 feet wide, 40 feet long, a ceiling height. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. We want to do a 40 by 40. Shouldn't be a problem with this size of room. But where is the exit? The exit is on the east wall leading to the next part of the temple. Okay, so this is going to be our last room at this level. And actually, possibly the last room we'll do on this stream. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay. I had thought that we would do a little faster, but I'm okay with that. Like, this is just kind of fun. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay. So we want to do double. This room's going to be cool. Dark Nexus. Hopefully there's some icons for stuff. Otherwise it's going to be a little tougher. Something I could actually consider is how to make tiles, or whatever you want to call these, stamps, I guess, using Midjourney to then import what you need into Incarnate. That could be very cool. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, yeah. I'm a little close. Not that it really matters. And then this heads off to the east. Sorry, I know some of this is a little tedious to watch. I totally understand. I just It's got to get done. All right, cool. And then we give ourselves a door. When they solve it, yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so again, we have pretty much our floor is always going to be the same, except this one I might do something a little different with this one. I just wanted to chart out the room a little bit first. And I would actually probably go back and add some more cobwebs and stuff, but that's okay. All right, so let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay. A central chamber shrouded in darkness. Strange glowing mushrooms provide dim light. Cool. All right, so we need mushrooms. Eerie shadows on the wall. The air is cold and damp with a slight metallic tang. The darkness feels almost tangible, pressing in on those who enter. The whispers of ancient rituals seem to echo faintly from the walls. Okay, cool. Set dressing item. Patches of glowing mushrooms scattered across the floors and walls, emitting a faint, eerie light. Ancient runes carved into the stone walls, glowing faintly. Broken ritual implements and decayed offerings strewn about the floor. A large cracked stone altar in the center of the room, covered in dark stains. Okay, let's do a few of these. All right. So first things first, let's add that altar. Because again, yeah, big altar right in the middle. Let's make that a little smaller. Big altar. And then now let's do some of these mushrooms. So some of you who watched the campaign will recognize these mushrooms. There's lots of them. I hate that AI has that negative connotation. It's meant used to enhance the creative process, not replace it. I feel your style shows the right way to use AI. Thank you very much. It's actually, I mean, without getting too much on my high horse, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I think it is way too easy to just be like, let me go on DM Guild and post some adventures that I created and, you know, spent 20 minutes making a PDF out of, churn out a new one of those every day. I think that's not cool. But also, you know, people would do that kind of stuff, and I get why you need to be a little wary of it. But yeah, like I found that I really actually, when we were doing the campaign, I tried very hard not to utilize AI too much because I felt like that would be almost disingenuous. But there were a few things like, there were a couple of books that I wrote, or I wrote, I should say, that I had AI help me to write, that I gave it like all of the important pieces. And then I said, like, you know, make this sound a little bit more narrative. And they were things that I actually gave to Talin off camera, and I was like, here's some extra lore so that you can be more well informed, because you were like, I went to a library and I read a whole bunch of stuff. Well, here's what you read. You know, I'm not going to sit there and write a book, but telling her the pieces I want her to get in an actual story, like, I didn't see any reason not to do that. And I thought that was a great use of it. So we want light. Okay, specifically this kind of light. We want some glowy light, and then we're going to make it... What color are we going to make this? We're going to make this like a bleh. We're going to... Now, so because so those are all actually a little too bright. Because I have these lights here, that's going to be nice, but once we take this into Foundry, what you'll see is I have the ability to kind of make them do like this. And it's a very cool effect when you're playing the game. All right, so we have some mushrooms. We need some ancient runes. We have broken ritual implements. Okay, let's do that. There is some stuff here. I think if I type torture, there will be some implements. Nah, this isn't what I'm looking for. Clutter. Let's go clutter. Or actually, you know what? Weapon. What I'm looking for is like a dagger. Because if you're a ritualist, religious fanatic, of course you're gonna have a dagger. That's just like ritual fanatic 101. Oh, this one's sacrificial dagger. That's kind of the best. I'm just gonna put that right there. Yeah, you're a sacrificial dagger, aren't you? All right. What else do we want to do? Let's have a sickle, for reasons. It's just going to be there on the floor. Now one thing, if things stand out too much, just kind of turn the saturation and the brightness down. It makes them fade more into the ground. But also, if I wanted to, I could kind of like damage it using masks, but I'm not going to bother doing that. All right, chains hanging from the walls, rusted and broken, hinting at past sacrifices. Okay, so this is a bad room to be in. All right, so we want some chains. I do like the ones from Hell, but in this case, I think I'm gonna probably grab more like this. We're gonna have that there, and another one there. We're gonna put a skeleton. Got a skelly boy. Let's go with this. Boom. All right, so there's a skeleton there. Cool. Let's see. Small stagnant pool of dark water in one corner, reflecting the faint light of the mushrooms. Cool. Eldritch horror. Farmers were cultists under an illusion spell. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. It's always the farmers. All right. So if we take... So we don't want this color, right? Because that's just too green. We want to make it... we want to make it dark. So first let's turn down the darkness. Then we want to make it jungly, so like a greenish gross. So we've got like this pool here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And the mushrooms are glowing out of it. Although I think I want to change the opacity a bit to make it so I could still see the ground through it. And if I want it to be darker, I just keep going over it. Perfect. All right, so the water's kind of seeping in. Now what I'm going to do actually is waterfall. Water? Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm going to go to stamp, water, and we are going to use, I think it's this one. Nope. There's one that I want to use. Hold on. I want to make the water coming in from the wall. So we are going to, let's try to use this. This is technically a ship wave, but I think if I rotate it a bit, yeah, that looks like it's coming in from the water, from the wall now. There we go. That's great. And I'll shrink that just a tad. It's just a little bit of detail that matters. You know, things like that stick out. Cool. I think that's actually really good. Children of the Corn style. Is ChatGPT decent with balance when creating magic items or monsters for specific level ranges? I have found that it is. As much as you can balance anything. So, for example, one of the things I really go out of my way to do, and you could check out the video I did on creating monsters, is I specifically tell it what my party's composition is. I'll even go as far as to tell them their subclass. You know, I have 4 level 5s, a rogue, a warrior, a blah, 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 blah. And I say, I want a monster who will be a challenge for all 4 of them without any minions or something like that. And it will recommend something. And then something I actually did a video, or I was starting to write a video on that didn't really work out very well, which was unfortunate because I thought it was a good idea, is, let's do this, is I was trying to, ChatGPT will allow you to upload PDFs. So I exported PDFs from D&D Beyond, which was my character sheet, and I uploaded those into ChatGPT, and I said, these are literally my characters, everything you could need to know about them. Design me a monster, blah, 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 blah. And it didn't do a very good job deciphering the PDFs. Like, it thought that, you know, I used the players from the campaign. I was like, here's a gnome fighter, who's like a battle master, whatever. And then I said, tell me about this character, because I wanted to make sure it read the PDF properly. And immediately it was like, oh, the gnome, you know, gnome fighter. It was like, this is an elven archer named this. And I'm like, an archer is not even a thing. So, yeah, so it's a little tough. It's definitely it's a balancing act for sure. Okay, so in this room we have 2 black puddings, which is cool. These oozes lurk in the shadows, waiting to ambush intruders. Homebrew monster placeholder, shadow stalkers, ethereal creatures that lurk in the darkness, attacking from the shadows. Okay, I believe if I'm remembering correctly, I think I was gonna do like, what is it called? The Master Hand, I think. Master Hand? Yeah. Oh, no, Master Hand was from Smash. Zelda. What were those creatures called? This guy. Wall Master. Yeah, I had something like this. Oh, Yeah. Doesn't have a... Shoot. Well, never mind. You guys remember those creatures? It was like a hand that came out of the wall in the original Zelda games. Actually, there have been in pretty much all of them, and it would take you back to the start of the thing. I had that in mind for this. The Shadow Stalkers are wraith-like beings that blend seamlessly into the darkness. They strike quickly and retreat, using their ability to meld with shadows to their advantage. Now, am I wrong in remembering that this room had like... I thought it had like little sparks of like darkness in here. A central chamber. The air is cold. Darkness feels almost tangible. I wonder if maybe that was one of the other rooms. Let's check the notes real quick, because I liked that room, and I've been actually kind of looking forward to making it. So let's see. We had Dark Nexus, Chamber of High Priest, Eldritch Heart, Hidden Sanctuary. The walls are covered in ancient glowing runes. The center lies a pulsing magical artifact shaped like an Eldritch Heart. A secret room only accessible through a hidden passage. The sanctuary is untouched by time. Eldritch Gate. Huh. Chamber of the High Priest. The opulent chamber once built... No. I think the Dark Next... Okay, maybe I'm just misremembering something. I thought that there was a thing. Maybe it was a combination of the mirror room and something else. Oh well. Let's see. Dark Nexus. Okay. So let's design the Shadow Stalkers, because that sounds like fun. All right. Shadow Stalkers. Can you generate an image of the Shadow Stalker? No. I would like the Shadow Stalkers to be represented by a large hand that materializes out of the wall. I think that would be really funny. And people would absolutely pick up on the Zelda reference. Could you generate an image of this? Let's see. I'll be curious if it kind of gets what I'm going for. Otherwise, I'll just tell it it's like a wall master from Zelda. All right, so there's a puzzle in here. Ooh, that's cool looking. All right, let's... That's pretty cool. Oh, that's creepy too. I love it. Oh, I think Ed would hate that. That would make it way more fun to use. What do you guys think? Do you like that? Just as a concept art, I think that looks really cool. It's pretty big though, but I do think it's neat. All right, so the puzzle and challenge in here. The runes on the walls whisper clues to those who listen. Deciphering these runes reveals a hidden mechanism in the altar that deactivates a trap in the next room. Would you like any further? Okay. Well, if we could talk, I could ask it to tell me a little bit more about what that clue situation looks like. The Shadow Stalkers are wraith-like. Strike quickly and retreat using their ability to meld with the shadows. So I think I would only want to have one of those Shadow Stalkers. All right. Can you generate a stat block for the Shadow Stalker? Also, let's name it something better. Having to do with... What do we want to call it? I don't like Shadow Stalker. That just sounds too generic. I want it to be like the Hand of Cavathos or something like that. Let's name it the Hand of Cavathos. Large undead chaotic evil. I don't think it should be undead, but whatever. Maybe it should. Okay. Wow, it's a CR7. That's going to be a lot. What are, let's see. D&D Beyond. Let's look up, what are they called? Oh my goodness. Black pudding. Let's see what black pudding's actually like. I kind of forget. Ugh. Just name it the Zelda creature. I like that. Ooh, a black pudding is a CR4. I can't put 2 black puddings and that wall master thing in here. That's too much. We could have if they fail somehow to decipher the clue, then the hand comes out of the wall and it attempts to grab people. I think that's good. I think there would be a black pudding in the room, just one. I think just one black pudding in the room, and it's kind of gooping over to people. And if they could either fight it or they could try to solve, like, all right, so one of the things that you want to try to do in a fight, right? You want to put some sort of pressure. So either it's impending doom, like the monster's coming and you're not going to be able to fight it, or there's a time constraint, or there's like hostages or something that they need to do before something breaks. Like, you want them to have a reason to go faster. So having the black pudding in the room coming after, maybe, I think black pudding, let me reread black puddings. I think that they split or something, right? Yeah, when a pudding that is a medium or larger is subjected to lightning or slashing damage, it splits into 2 new puddings. Okay, each new pudding has hit points equal to half the original pudding's amount. And okay, actually, I think that could work out really well. So if they, okay, I like this. So in this room, a black pudding is going to show up after, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, or after, let's say, like 5 rounds. After which people, what is it called? The runes on the wall will glow and the riddle will be told. If the players get the riddle incorrect, then the shadow, no, the hand of Cavathos, the hand of Cavathos will appear and begin attempting to attack the players as well. It has a C7, AC7 should be quickly dealt with, shouldn't it? It has an AC of 7? No, it has an AC of 15. It was a CR of 7, meaning like a challenge rating 7. So, like, pretty tough. Oh, you were talking about the black pudding. I'm sorry. Yes, the black pudding has an AC of 7. That's a good point. But they kind of want it to split. So you're right. It would be, maybe black puddings continue to filter into this room. The longer they stay, something like that. Okay. Either way, I think we've kind of figured out this room, at least to a degree that I'm gonna grab this hand, throw that in my folder. Okay. Cool. And then there's a hidden cache behind a loose stone in the wall. Potion of invisibility scroll. See, that's too much stuff. They don't even need any treasure in here. Their treasure will be getting away. All right. So the riddle is: I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I? I would guess a joke. After 5 rounds, if the players answer correctly, they deactivate the trap. So the riddle is: I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I? Yeah, probably play it by ear. That's a good point. So in this room, black pudding will come after 5 rounds. No. Yeah. What's the answer to the riddle? It is a joke. All right, cool. That's not really thematic. Can you make a new riddle that would be thematic and also potentially... I want it to, like, reference Cavathos. Like, I want... all right, let's make a new riddle that would be thematic and a bit longer, like a story. Specifically about Cavathos and his coming, his Inevitability. I have no idea what it's going to do with this. I'm not great with making up riddles, but I like the idea that it would be kind of longer. Okay. All right. The answer ends up being inevitability. All right. So here we go. In the depths of darkness where light dares not tread, Cavathos whispers, his voice filled with dread. He waits in the shadows, patient and still, his arrival foretold by those with the will. Once summoned, he spreads madness and fear, a harbinger of nightmares drawing near. No lock nor barrier can keep him away, for Cavathos finds a path come what may. He in the end that cannot be denied, a force of nature no matter where you hide. This is too long. Seek to stop him if courage you possess, but know his coming is a foregone process. Tell me, brave souls, if you truly know, what is Cavathos who brings such woe? Yeah, that's terrible. Okay. This is too long. Let's make the riddle four lines that rhyme. Let's make the riddle a 4-line poem that is about Cavathos. The answer to the riddle should be something clever. Like, I just love this about this because I'm giving it nothing to work with. I'm just like, I don't want to think. Come up with a better riddle than this and maybe do it better. In shadows deep where horrors creep, Cavathos stirs from restless sleep. His whispers call your mind enthralls. What name is given to fears enthrall? Dread. That's not, like, nobody's gonna know that. Okay, so I need to come up with something different. So we want a riddle, because that's cool. This is gonna be a big, fun dungeon. Yeah, I agree, Dennis. It's tough because those of you that are watching it, I don't think it would be all that fun to run because you'd know a lot of the secrets. But I do kind of have aspirations once this is done, maybe having like some patrons or something run it and just do it on a stream. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Maybe, you know what I could do? I could stop after this room number 8 and I could go design the last 4 rooms and then we could run it as a thing. That could be fun. I'll think about it. Okay, so I'm going to give this one more shot. These riddles are too hard and don't give enough clues as to what the answer is. Playtest. Yeah, that's true. I will say, if anybody's interested in joining the Patreon, I could really use it. It's I think at the moment, like, I'm spending something like $15 a month on assets, and I think I make like $8. So a little bit of money from YouTube helps cover it. Like, I'm not losing money on the channel, but having a little bit more support in Patreon would be really nice if anybody's interested. I've got a whole lot of free members, and then nobody ever joins, so I'm probably doing something wrong, but it would help if anybody's interested. All right, riddle. In darkened halls where shadows lie, Cavathos whispers drawing nigh. His touch brings fear, his voice does bind. What name is he who plagues the mind? This is good, except I'm going to get rid of the word Cavathos here and just say he whispers drawing nigh. So in darkened halls where shadows lie, he whispers drawing nigh. No, how about this? Because actually poetry's not super foreign to me. The one who whispers drawing nigh. His touch brings fear, his voice does bind. What name is he who plagues the mind? I think that's better. Because then the answer is Cavathos, which is kind of obvious, but I'm okay with obvious. Ever think it gets frustrated with us? Yeah, I know, right? How are these riddles not obvious? What more do you want from me? Totally. It's like, stupid humans. You told me you wanted it to be Cavathos as the answer, so I made it Cavathos. Like, no, that infer, don't literal. So. All right. So we've now got our stat block. We've got all this stuff. I think this room is pretty good, and this will be a nice little challenge for the players for sure. I am a little worried that there isn't enough room in here. So, like, what if I make the altar a little smaller? Keep the bloody knife. Although make that a little smaller too. We've got our mushrooms here. We need to have... So I'm going to put just like this big rock. Like a stone of some sort. Like it's going to look like an obelisk kind of. Something maybe like one of like this. Let's see. How big can I make you? Boom. And then this is going to have some sort of like rune. Can I... Oh, there we go. Yeah. Let's do this. Whoa. Plop. A little big. All right, let's get rid of you. Let's move you to be like right here. And then this is going to... We're going to add some color to this. Going to make the hue of... there we go. Come on, give me something good. Oof, that's not great. Okay, so I can't do much with the rock, technically. So what we're gonna do is, in Foundry, I'm gonna make this thing glow. But actually, I'm gonna put the stone over here instead, and I'm gonna put it on something. Let's say altar. No, I keep doing altar. Stone, I guess. I don't know. Let's see what we have. So I want something kind of like I want it to be on stone, but these are way too big now. At least I think so, considering the whole point was this room's too big. Did I grab a mushroom? That's too small. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's do this again. But this time, instead, it's going to have some vines on it. Because it's now overgrown. And underneath here, people are going to be like, oh, what the heck's that rock? And they're going to come over and they're going to hear the little riddle. If they answer correctly, then something cool happens. If they answer incorrectly, Mr. Hand comes out of the wall. And I think the black pudding will probably come out of the skeleton that's up here. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's make sure I hit all the set dressing, though, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Stagnant pool, chains, large cracked stone altar, broken ritual implements. Okay, excellent. Cool. Perfect. Oh, you guys aren't watching that. Okay, so we've now finished the second floor of the jungle temple. And I think because it's 11:08, I think I'm going to call it here for the night. Doing a multi-hour stream is wonderful. I enjoy it, and I hope that you guys like kind of watch this in the future, whatever. But 3 hours is a long time, and I am not close. So we still have one more floor to go. If you happen to be watching this in the future, or if you're watching this now, let me know. Would it be better for me to do the last 4 rooms by myself, keep things secret, and then maybe run a game with people and have you all check it out? Or would it be just as much fun to watch me finish this whole thing and then run a game anyway? And just see what happens. Maybe I could change up a couple of things like the riddles or whatever else. So let me know what you guys think. And remember to do all the regular stuff. Subscribe to the channel, like it, check out the description for links to everything. And I don't know if I'll stream next Monday, but I will definitely stream again either way. So check out the channel for when that's going to be. Wish I could give you a better answer. Okay, thank you guys all for joining me here tonight and hanging out, and I appreciate it, and have a great rest of your night.